is because of that, the fines are stopped because he's at camp. He's just injured. And so over the weekend, I thought it was interesting that I saw the very first tweet from a Commanders fan that started turning a little bit on Terry McLaurin. It was a tweet that was from somebody who basically said, oh, well, now he's at camp, and if he doesn't want to, participate with everybody else, then they should stop negotiating with him. Now, let's be honest here for a second. I do not think that this is the general prevailing theme when it comes to Terry McLaurin. I still feel like 90.9%, 99% are going to be on Terry McLaurin's side, because how often are you on the side of management in this sort of thing? Like, unless you're in a management role, then you're usually not on the side of management. And so I think that's rather interesting that we may see some people start to turn a little bit on Terry, although I feel like for the most part, everybody's kind of on his side. Now, he still hasn't done anything yet. I don't know what to make of the hold in terms of whether or not that's a good thing or not. Part of me says it is, but part of me thinks that it's kind of like teasing or mocking a little bit. Like, hey, I'm here. I'm not practicing, but I'm here. And what if Terry starts talking to some of the other free agents or some of the other guys who feel like they should have their contract changed, or guys who have a long-term extension coming up? We've seen some of the moves that the Commanders have made over the last week. We talked about on Friday the Percy Butler news. I like Percy Butler. I think Percy Butler will be a decent safety in the NFL. He got extended. We saw the signing of Von Miller. Now, look, neither of these moves are going to greatly reduce the amount of money that's left under the cap for the Commanders to use Terry McLaurin. Like, they have the money to pay Terry McLaurin right now. They do. They are just choosing not to. And from all the reports that are out there, they are pretty far apart, which goes back to what I feel like is the age thing and the worth thing, what they feel like he's worth as opposed to what he feels like he's worth. The problem is he's on the right side of this thing because he means more to the Commanders than they seemingly think he means to them. I think I said that right. Got to make sure. I think I said that right. But like, this team without him, like, look, I'm glad that the undrafted free agent, I forget who it is, all the Twitter accounts are all meshing together and they're all talking about undrafted free agents. There's a wide receiver at camp that's doing pretty well. He's doing pretty well. He's not Terry McLaurin. Let's be completely honest here. It's not Terry McLaurin. And the other kind of news that complicates things, and once again, like, if you're in the Commanders front office, you had to have seen this coming. 19 minutes ago, Adam Schefter, the Broncos and Cortland Sutton have reached an agreement on a 4-year, $92 million extension. By my crude math, that is $23 million. Pretty sure that's $23 million. Now, we don't know what the guarantees are. I haven't seen the guarantees yet. I haven't seen, like, how the structure is. Is it front-ended? Is it back-ended? Is it, front-loaded, back-ended? I don't know. Nobody's really reported it yet. They just kind of reported the 4 years, $92 million. And, it's kind of funny. Cortland Sutton actually has pretty good statistics when you compare him to Terry McLaurin. Cortland Sutton last year had 86 receptions, 1,156 receiving yards. He had 34 catches of 15-plus yards. He had 20 contested catches. That's because Bo Nix at times was all over the place. But, like, his numbers are somewhat comparable to Terry McLaurin's. Now, depending upon the guaranteed money, you see and you hear the $23 million, and you're like, well, that's not bad. But don't forget, he also has the last year of his deal, and then this contract is getting started. So I don't know if this makes things easier on the Commanders or hard on the Commanders, because, Cortland Sutton, I'm trying to look and see what Cortland Sutton's age is, because that's, clearly a factor in all these negotiations. Cortland Sutton will be 30 during this season. He's 29 right now. His birthday is October 10th. So, this is kind of somewhat comparable to what Terry McLaurin should get. Now, Terry McLaurin's probably got slightly better numbers, but they've both played, for the most part, with bad quarterbacks in their career. Cortland Sutton for the most part, I believe, has had some horrendous quarterbacks in his career with the Denver Broncos. Terry McLaurin, outside of last year, has had some horrendous quarterbacks in his career. So this is where it's going to come into play as to whether or not the Commanders say to Terry and his agent, look what Courtland Sutton got. You guys are pretty close in age. You guys are pretty close in career. You guys are pretty close in everything. This is what you deserve. Well, if Terry thinks that he deserves more because he's better than Courtland Sutton, then we're going to look. My worry, since obviously, look, I said it was going to be day 3 of training camp. That was Saturday. That was Friday. Never happened. So I was wrong. I was completely wrong. My worry meter was at like a 3. Now I'm at like a 5. I still think something's going to happen, but now I'm wondering if it's going to push maybe the second preseason game. The fact that he's there, I think, is not bad. I'm not going to read into it that much because now he's not being fined $50,000. He was placed on the PUP list, so he's not getting fined now. I think that's all that really happened here in terms of, him going to training camp is he's not getting fined. Like, this is what they were talking about. I saw Ross Tucker on his podcast was saying, like, logically, anybody who's holding out should go to camp and just say they're injured. Like Trey Hendrickson now is getting fined $50,000 a day. Now, granted, he doesn't seem to care. Last week, he posted a picture of him in Florida. But, like, he should go to camp and then just sit there and that's it. Like, I'm injured. Oh, my ankle. Oh, I can't play. So nothing's really changed other than I think Courtland Sutton, a comparable wide receiver, getting a 4-year, $92 million deal, which is about $23 million. As I said, we still don't know the guarantees. That's the other thing that I still maintain. I think the guaranteed money bridges gaps. It bridges gaps. If you're about $5 or $6 million apart, which it seems like that the Commanders and Terry McLaurin are at least that, if you guarantee more money, then I think that Terry's more likely to take a little less on the contract. Although maybe he's not. Maybe we pass that. Maybe the longer he's unhappy and the longer that he's sitting out there, he's past that. He's no longer willing to work with the team. He just wants his contract. Now, I also found it interesting. I have to pull this up, my phone, because I get these emails. I get these emails from this guy who sends me all sorts of props. I'm obviously, some of you are like, wait a second, you're on a prop list and you're on betting lists. There's odds out there on Terry McLaurin's next location if he gets traded. The Jets are the favorite at 3-1. The Patriots are 4-1. The Chargers are 5-1. Raiders 6-1. Steelers 8-1. The longest shot, the Bills and Packers are at 25-1. Now this is I don't think he's getting traded, so it doesn't really matter. But if he gets traded, people think the Jets are the odds-on favorite. So I said that. So Jordan, I asked you last week, and I've probably asked you every week since this whole story started out, where your worryometer was. I just said mine was at a 3. Now it's kind of up to a 4, 4.5, not quite at 5 yet. Where are you in the worryometer with Terry McLaurin?
There's still 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks of like training camp / preseason practice. Like, I would say I'm probably at like a 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause I mean, he's there now. The bet, I mean, he can't flip flop. So he can't be a holdout turned hold in and then all of a sudden just go home again and start racking up the fines. So I think a deal is imminent. I would expect a deal before probably the last preseason game if it drags on that long. I don't see it being sort of like a CeeDee Lamb sort of situation where it's literally the night before the regular season starts and we're like, okay, yeah, we just signed an extension. No. That's not how it should work.
Do you think the Courtland Sutton stuff today is good news, bad news, or it doesn't really affect things?
I don't think it really affects things because I think Terry and his agent have probably drawn a line in the sand where they think his value is per year, and they're probably sticking to that, or they probably have little wiggle room to get, to budge outside of that window.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think that they're so comparable statistically, Cortland Sutton and Terry McLaurin, and they're comparable age-wise, and they're comparable there. So, like, I feel like both sides will point to this. I think both sides will point to this for different reasons, and so we'll see what happens. But I don't think there's any other wide receivers out there that we should be expecting contracts for, but I didn't necessarily expect Cortland Sutton. I'd have to look up the position to see who else is kind of in their last year of a deal and who else could be. But like, it would behoove this team to not wait any longer. It would behoove them to not wait any longer, because guess what? If somebody else comes along and blows this whole thing up, then everything's going to be, then we're going to be worried. Because I think they're both stuck on their numbers. And for now, they're fine with their numbers. But if somebody comes along and let's say somebody who's, younger than Terry and gets over $30 million, I mean, that could solidify things. I'll look during the break to see if there's anybody else who's like, in the realm of possibly getting an extension right now. But I feel like, you saw most of them: T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Cortland Sutton, CeeDee Lamb. They all got their extensions, and so the market should be kind of stable right now, but we'll see what happens. 327-0888, that is the phone number. That is the text line. 804 is the area code. If you're listening, Commanders fans, where are you from 1 to 10 on the worryometer? In terms of Terry McLaurin, I'm about 4.5. Jordan's about a 4, so we're not DEFCON 5 or anything like that yet, but certainly we'll take your comments on that. All right, let's take a timeout. Coming up, new realignment rumors that are out there that, once again, I don't put much stock in, but I got to tell you about it. We'll talk about it next. You're listening to 106.1 ESPN.
Tune into the ESPN Richmond Herman Allen Sports Play of the Day, presented exclusively by Herman Allen Plumbing and Cooling, your premier Lennox dealer.
Hey, it's Crash Gladys from Speed Freaks. Are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use limited time promo code SUMMER and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. Listeners are making $200 to $300 a year just from buying the gas they already needed. Don't wait. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code SUMMER to redeem your 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SUMMER. Yeah, at first I thought it was too good to be true, but it's completely legit. Plus, you can cash out anytime. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now by using limited time promo code SUMMER. That's promo code SUMMER for a limited time 25 cents per gallon bonus. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Oh, I love this scene.
Yeah, man. I bet we could pull off a street race like this.
Dude, totally.
Hey, this is just a movie, right?
Whoa, what?
You try this in real life, you could kill someone or even yourself.
Life's not like the movies. Avoid a life-changing consequence and slow down, because this is one disaster you can't outrun. Speeding catches up with you. A message presented by NHTSA.
It's a special time at the Home Depot right now with 10% off special order carpeting. Discover stylish choices and simple prices on all special order carpeting, including special buy. Then let us install it all for you with prices starting at just 49 cents per square foot. On-trend upgrade and save more with 10% off special order carpeting at the Home Depot. Going on now. Offer valid July 17th through August 3rd, 2025. Exclusions apply. For licenses, see homedepot.com/license numbers.
Coming up on the next Fits the Bill, we've got Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the driver of the number 47 Chevrolet, joining us in studio. We're going to talk all things Richmond race, NASCAR, and how the season has gone so far for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That's all coming up on Fits the Bill. Don't miss it, starting at 8 a.m. right here on 106.1 ESPN.
Welcome back. 106.1 ESPN. Matt Joseph's here. We'll get to the realignment stuff in a second, but there are two guys who it looks like who are also in that draft with Terry McLaurin, who could be due extensions. Now, I wouldn't say that either of them are going to, I would imagine they won't affect things, but there is Drake London, of the Atlanta Falcons, who the Falcons picked up his option, so they have a little extra time. But, I mean, he had 100 catches for 1,271 yards and 9 touchdowns last year. And let me just be honest with this. I'm not a Drake London guy. Then again, I'm not really a Falcons guy, to say the least. I think Drake London's okay, but I also think Drake London has not had the best of luck also with quarterbacks. I mean, you all know where I stand on Kirk Cousins. And so I don't think Drake London's been able to show how good he really is. But if the Falcons, this is the thing that kind of happens here. We looked at the quarterback market, and everything was kind of going okay with the quarterback market. Everything was going fine. And then all of a sudden, the Browns had to go and do something stupid and guarantee Deshaun Watson all his money. And so then after that, everybody else wanted to get more guaranteed money, and that messed up the market for everybody else. And so the Atlanta Falcons could sit there and say, well, we really like Drake London. And so they do something stupid, sign him to a deal that he doesn't deserve, and then all of a sudden things get blown way out of proportion. So this is another reason why the Commanders should get something going soon. Drake London's not going to make money that's going to affect Terry McLaurin, you would think. But if he somehow does, I would hate to be in the office of the Commanders sitting there saying, well, we were going to offer Terry this, but those morons down in Atlanta offered Drake London this, and now we have to sit here and counter it. The other person who is in that draft, or at least in that area, who could be doing extension, and he's a fascinating case himself, is Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams, the speedster out of Alabama, who has all the talent in the world. He's a fast receiver. They are working to expand his route tree. He's a guy who has gotten in trouble off the field. I believe he was one of the guys who got caught gambling. Either that or he was caught doing something else, but I believe he was suspended a couple of games. And the talent is there, and the Lions very much like him, but already have Amon-Ra St. Brown. And unless they have a genius like Howie Roseman balancing the cap, it's going to be hard to pay 2 wide receivers. But Jameson Williams is another guy that if they do like him a lot, they could look to give him a contract extension. So and this is stuff that Adam Peters has to figure out. Like, Adam Peters probably, or at least I would hope, knew that Cortland Sutton was getting a deal. I'd like to think that, when they have their, tote board with everybody's names up there and contracts and where certain people are in terms of the salary cap and everything. Like, he had to have known that Garrett Wilson was going to get a contract extension, that Cortland Sutton was going to get a contract extension, CeeDee Lamb, the Bengals wide receivers. Like, he had to have known all this. And hopefully, for Commanders fans' sake, he didn't get caught off guard by all of this. So in my mind, he's got to get this done before Drake London gets done. Because if Drake London messes up the market and then the Commanders can't pay Terry McLaurin what they want to, this could get ugly, and then the season gets ugly. And that's why I brought up to Bob on Friday. I brought this up on the show on Friday. And obviously, I don't want this to happen. But I think the longer this goes on, I think the Cowboys close the gap slightly on the Commanders. Slightly. I don't think the Cowboys have overtaken the Commanders. But let's just say this. If Terry McLaurin's not suiting up week 1, that's a worry. If, this drags on into the season, remember, we've talked about their schedule, and I'm pulling up the schedule now. We've talked about this schedule for the Commanders. There is an opportunity for a fast start. But if you mess around, week 1, Giants, got to take care of business. Must win. Can't lose to the Giants week 1. Because then, short week, Lambeau Field, Thursday Night Football. That's probably a loss. But then you come home and play the Raiders, and boy, Raiders story today. Whew, that was an odd story. Then they're 2-1. Then they play at Atlanta, at the Chargers, home Chicago, at Dallas, at Kansas City. 4 of their next 5 are on the road. And if you don't have Terry for some of those games, this season could go downhill quick. It could. Look, you figure they're probably going to lose at Dallas. You figure they're probably going to lose at Kansas City. And then probably split the Atlanta-LA road trip. Meanwhile, you look at the Cowboys, who play in Philadelphia at 0-1. Then they host the Giants. They play at the Bears, host the Packers, and then they've got 3 of their next 4 on the road. So I'm just saying here, like, I don't love the vibes coming out of Commanders camp. Everybody's saying the right stuff and everything, but like this Terry thing, like it shows me almost that the Commanders are not ready for prime time, because most places outside of Cincinnati where they still won't sign Trey Hendrickson, most places like this stuff would have been over by now. Dallas is dumb. Jerry Jones is dumb. Micah Parsons is not getting his contract till who knows when. So like Dallas and Cincinnati. But like if the Commanders had hopes of I was about to say a World Series. That's not it. If the Commanders had hopes for a Super Bowl, you need to be all hands on deck. And you need to be ready to go week 1. You cannot. This is a 17-game season. You cannot waste a game. It just shows me maybe they're not going to be ready this year. Maybe, look, I think Jaden Daniels is going to be great. I think Jaden Daniels will be wonderful. If he doesn't have Terry, he will still do magical things. He'll turn somebody else into a very good number 2. Debo will be okay. But like without Terry, this whole offense just changes. And so I'm just saying, I don't love. It's almost like the Commanders thought, okay, we made the NFC Championship game last year. Let's just kind of do the same thing and we'll see what happens. That's not how the NFL works. As I said all offseason so far, my power rankings for the NFC goes as follows. My number 1's the Eagles, but the gap is closing a little bit. They have the best roster in the NFC, but they're still not a runaway favorite. I have the Rams number 2 because I really like the Rams this year. I think the Rams, as long as Matt Stafford stays healthy, now already Matt Stafford has a back issue, and they're kind of working it. And they've actually said week to week with Matt Stafford. So, like, that's kind of a worry because I've said the Rams are my sleeper Super Bowl selection. But if Matt Stafford's healthy, they have the best defensive line in football. They have a great wide receiving core and a veteran quarterback who doesn't make a ton of mistakes. If they're number 2, then my number 3 is the Lions. The Lions and the Commanders are kind of right there. The Lions, remember, the Lions, question marks are the coordinators. They have brand new coordinators, but they had a great defense last year until everybody got hurt. Now everybody's healthy again. They have a fantastic offense, but is Jared Goff going to be for real with somebody else other than Ben Johnson calling plays? I think the Lions and the Commanders are right there, with actually Tampa Bay being up there as well. Because I think Tampa Bay is a very good football team that we don't necessarily talk about enough. And then there's the next tier, which is Dallas, Minnesota, Chicago, Atlanta, Seattle, San Francisco, I guess. But like the Commanders need to kind of have this urgency. Last year was last year. They cannot just assume, oh, we made the NFC Championship game last year. It's just going to happen once again, because I bet the Houston Texans assumed the same thing 2 years ago. And last year, C.J. Stroud was not very good. Not that I'm thinking Jaden Daniels is going to fall like that, but I'm just saying it's happened before. Maybe it's Bo Nix who has the C.J. Stroud-like fall. That's why it hit me last week. Like maybe Dallas is getting closer to the Commanders than we think. Maybe. I don't want it to be. Don't let anybody think that. We all despise the Cowboys. But I'm also saying, like, outside of the Micah Parsons stuff, Cowboys camp has been, from what I could tell, outside of the injury, sounds like a very painful injury, a broken bone in a guy's neck. That sounds terrible. I'm just saying, vibes are not necessarily the greatest in Commanders camp, despite everybody saying all the right things. 327-0888, phone number, text line for the show. All right. Let me get into this. I'm not going to make you wait anymore. So it looks like on Friday, this happened after the show, probably because I did not see this on Friday. Scott Hamilton of the Post and Courier was on the Paul Feinbaum show, and he said he heard that UNC could have a gentleman's agreement with the SEC. That same person told Hamilton Virginia could be looking toward the Big Ten, which for the longest time, it seemed like whenever we had realignment rumors, it was always UVA to the SEC. UVA was always mentioned in the SEC because I remember, and this was no slight to UVA fans, even though they think probably I am. Like, if we were going on the field product, we'd think Virginia Tech more fits the SEC mold. But UVA's balanced success across all sports, including Olympic sports, like that fits the SEC. The SEC is awesome in gymnastics and tennis and baseball and softball and all this stuff. Well, that, in terms of that, Virginia Tech is a top-heavy program, and by the way, that top hasn't even been that good lately. So it's very surprising to hear that UVA has a quote-unquote handshake agreement with the Big Ten of all things. I look, whatever it is, you're going to hear this stuff for the next 4 years. Nothing's happening anytime soon. UVA doesn't have $180 million in their couch cushions. Carla Williams has not been holding out on alums saying, oh, yeah, we got plenty of money. No. You would need like at least 10 or 12 anonymous donors to step up with plenty of money for that to happen. So this is not happening anytime soon. But now we're kind of seeing everybody play their cards a little bit. Like, this is still poker here. This is still poker. But now we're starting to see, when you play poker and you lose a hand and the guy shows you one card instead of two. Well, inside Carolina, and this guy's saying Carolina's going to the SEC, that's one poker card showing. We don't know what the rest of it is. This guy's saying Virginia's going to the Big Ten, that's one poker card showing. That's not the other one. I'm talking about Texas Hold'em. But we're going to see this a lot. Now, I did find this interesting that this guy said he thinks UNC's the number one target of the SEC, more than Florida State Clemson. He said, I think it's UNC number one, and then I think it's Florida State Clemson or Clemson Florida State number two after that. And the only reason why I think that is because they won another state. Get that North Carolina eyeballs. Get those North Carolina eyeballs in the SEC. That's why they're more important than Clemson Florida State, despite the fact that Clemson and Florida State are better football programs. And I'm hoping, and I assume the SEC is smart enough to know, by 2030, Bill Belichick will not be at UNC. My prediction is by 2027, he won't be at UNC, but we'll see. So that was on Friday on the Paul Feinbaum show. Look, if I'm UVA, as I said on Friday, if you are an AD in this country of a FBS and FCS program and you're not talking to conference commissioners to kind of see what happens in 2029, 2030, you're not doing your job. You're not doing your job. So that means Matt Rohn. That means Wood Selig. That means I don't know who Liberty's AD is. I think it's still the guy from Baylor. That means Richmond's AD. That means William and Mary's AD. And I get that you were saying FCS programs, but like the FCS as we know it in 2030 could disappear. We could have completely different things in terms of super conferences, group of 5, FCS. Because my prediction is by 2030, the Dakotas and the Montanas will be in the FBS because things are going to change because the big boys are going to be elsewhere. And I think that there will be a shift with the best programs in the FCS heading to the FBS. And then who knows what's going to happen to the FCS. That's why I'm saying, if you're Richmond, William and Mary, all those schools in the FCS, you got to be figuring that maybe the Patriot League won't be your best. Now, look, I'm not saying Richmond's going to the ACC. I'm not saying anything like that. But who knows? The Sun Belt may suddenly become interested in one of them because the Sun Belt may not be. Listen, look, we're going to be talking about this for the next 5 years. We're going to be talking about this the next 5 years. But you're going to see all these little stories come out. And to me, they're not huge news because it's kind of what to be expected. If you don't see your school being mentioned in a story like this, then your school's not doing their due diligence. By the way, next year, the exit fee to leave the ACC is $165 million. Then it's $147 million. Then it's $129 million. Then it's $111 million. Then it's $93 million. Then it's $75 till 2036. So nobody in this state has $165 million laying around. And everybody's staying in the ACC as far as I know. 327-0888, phone number, text line, 804 is the area code. So these are the things that are coming out. And we're going to hear this for the next couple of years. But UVA to the Big Ten, that'll be fun. I mean, if there are media days in Las Vegas, I mean, I could be persuaded to go. I could be persuaded to, especially if it's at like the Circa pool or whatever. Like, I could do my show from the pool in 5 years, assuming I still have a job. And you guys having gotten me kicked off the air for being terrible. So yeah, the one I don't want to go to is the SEC Media Day, which I'm guessing if Virginia goes to the Big Ten, my guess is Virginia Tech goes to the SEC because they're not going to stay in the ACC if Clemson, Florida State, and North Carolina and Virginia all leave. And I don't think they're going to follow Virginia wherever they go. I think they're going to try and go somewhere else. But yeah, as I said, we have 5 years to discuss that. All right, let's take a timeout. Coming up, baseball's heading for a labor dispute, to say the least. One baseball player got in the face of the commissioner and cursed him out. We'll talk about that and the trade deadline as well as we take you up until 4. Mashup Hour from 4 until 5. Then the Sports Huddle from 5 until 6. You're listening to 106.1 ESPN.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking early bird special, $49.99. Seminars Thursday, August 21st. Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons, Glen Allen. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Saturday, August 23rd. Hilton Garden Inn, Colonial Heights. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m.
Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has expert technicians plus industry-leading Lennox equipment. To learn more, visit HermanAllenPlumbing.com.
You've seen the headline. Heard the debates.
The three-point ball has created a monotonous rhythm to the game.
Has the three-pointer ruined basketball? And how did we get here?
The rise of the three-point shot can be partially traced to an eccentric Kansas genius named Martin Manley,
whose story didn't turn out quite the way he imagined.
I decided I wanted to have one of the most organized goodbyes in history.
30 for 30 podcast presents
Chasing Basketball Heaven.
Available now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Evan Cohen here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sports book for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Hey, Richmond. Looking for more Fits the Bill content and behind-the-scenes looks into the show? Well, follow us on Instagram at Fits the Bill ESPN RVA. You'll get all of the clips, exclusive hot takes, and so much more. Follow us at Fits the Bill ESPN RVA on Instagram.
Welcome back. 106.1 ESPN. Matt Joseph's here. Before we go on, I want to thank Josie for her hard work. Her internship has ended. She did a month with us, but we threw a lot of things at Josie, who does VCU radio, and she handled it tremendously. And so we appreciate her time here at the station. So I know some of you might be disappointed, but when you call, Jordan will answer it. And then on other days, I might answer it. And then other days, Alan may answer it. So we want to thank Josie for all of her hard work, and hopefully she succeeds and continues on in radio. Hopefully we haven't spoiled her of radio. She doesn't want to do it anymore. But that didn't seem to be the case. So thank you to her for her month of time with us as part of an internship. All right, so Rob Manfred is going around different clubhouses, and he is talking to the teams. And basically what he's kind of doing is improving player relations, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? But he was with the Phillies last week, and apparently, he and Bryce Harper were getting into it a little bit. Quote, Bryce Harper told him to get the bleep out of our clubhouse, end quote. Basically, I think Rob Manfred is trying to gauge the players on having a salary cap, which, and we can get into this more, Bob, I think baseball needs a salary cap. I do. I think all sports should have a salary cap. Now, when I say all sports should have a salary cap, that means you can't go over it. Hard cap, which means the NBA would dissolve, essentially, it feels like. Because the NBA has a cap, but it's a very soft cap. You can go over it. You can pay luxury taxes. There's aprons, windows, whatever. Larry Bird rights, all this stuff. So the NBA has a cap, but it is the softest cap in sports because it feels like the NFL. Hard cap, boom. You cannot go over your number. Even though the Saints are always like $90 million over the cap, and somehow they manage to A, add free agents, and B, field a football team, but whatever. Major League Baseball needs a cap. It really does. There is no other sport of the four major sports, maybe the NBA, There are very few sports where you begin the season, a very long season to say the least, 162 games. There are very few sports where there are as many teams that begin a season not having a chance to compete. If you look at the Major League Baseball standings before the season, there were a lot of teams who probably thought this was going to be a lost season. Now, granted, look, you could come back at me and say the Tigers probably thought that, and the Tigers are in first place right now. But I could come back at you and say, well, the White Sox fans sat there. They knew their team was going to be terrible, and now they are in game 106 of 162, and it's been a miserable season. You could, I could come at you with the Athletics. Don't have a home. Don't have a first name. They weren't exactly excited. Granted, I had the over on their wins, and I don't think it's going to hit. But like Nats fans had they were excited about their young players and seeing some of the young players, but nobody sat there and said, I'm really excited for the Nats season. I think we have a playoff berth on the line. The Pirates fans were excited for Paul Skeens. That's about it. So like baseball needs to institute a hard salary cap. That brings the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Mets and the Cubs and all the teams who spend money back down to everybody else. Okay? That's what I fully believe baseball should have a salary cap. And not only that, a salary floor as well. A salary floor. Like you need to spend, let's say the cap is $175 million. And then the floor is $75 million. And if you don't spend $75 million, you're fined, or we take away draft picks or whatever. I just think that there is this valley between the haves and the have-nots in baseball that will be there for a while. You draft high in the Major League Baseball draft, you probably won't see those guys for 2-3 years. You draft high in other sports, they're going to play right away. And so the bad teams, like, what's the White Sox motivation for next year? What's the Nats motivation for next year? I mean, you look, they got Cade Cavalli, they got Dylan Cruz, there's plenty of young players there, but they still have to gel together, and you have to sign free agents to put with them. So this is my long-winded way of saying, I think baseball needs a salary cap because I think that some of these contracts are insane. The Shohei contract, insane. The Juan Soto contract, insane. When you look at what some of these guys are getting paid compared to what some of the other stars in other sports are getting paid, it's insanity. And I think we're going to be in for a long strike, work stoppage, lockout, whatever they're calling it. December 1st, 2026 is when the CBA is expired. And the MLBPA obviously doesn't want to cap, although, this is where the MLBPA, and I'll get to you in a second, Bruce, this is where the Players Association is going to have some issues. Because you know what a cap is going to do? A cap is going to hurt the Bryce Harpers, the Juan Sotos, the Shohei Ohtanis, the top end of the market. But you know what the cap is also going to do? It's going to help the fourth starter. It's going to help the third starter in the rotation. It's going to help the fifth starter because the bottom end guys are going to have to get paid a little bit more. And so I'll be interested to see how the Players Association handles this. We hear from the loudest of the Players Association, and usually those are the guys that make the most money. But like, if I was one of the guys that stands to make a little bit more in the back end of these rosters, I'd be for it. So I think we are heading towards a very interesting time in Major League Baseball. And I would, if I was a player, I 1,000% would. I mean, look, they're probably going to hold out. But I think baseball needs to fix this stuff. I feel like it needs a cap. There's just too many teams who have no interest in fielding teams. They just sit there. They're like, well, fans will come for 81 games at home. That's all that matters. Fans will come. But when you look at the Colorado Rockies, now the Colorado Rockies have a beautiful stadium. But if you put the Colorado Rockies in a mediocre stadium, think of your favorite mediocre baseball stadium, the Mets Stadium, whatever. They're not getting that good of a crowd. Coors Field's cool. I wish I went to Coors Field when I was in Colorado. But I think baseball needs to clean itself out. I think they need to fix this. Remember, the other problem here that they need to fix is Shohei Ohtani's getting bazillions of dollars deferred. So the Dodgers don't even have to pay him technically against whatever their payroll, but they've got the Bobby Bonilla thing. They'll pay Shohei Ohtani till his kids are dead, which is many years away. And I don't even know if he has kids. I don't think he has kids, but like he's going to get paid for a long time. So baseball needs the strike. They need to fix things because I do not like the economics of Major League Baseball. I think I am a huge proponent in every sport, a hard cap. Hard cap. Base it on how much money you're going to make, and then tell everybody you have to spend this amount of money as the floor and this amount of money as your ceiling, and stay in between it. Let's go to the phones. 327-0888. That's the phone number. The text line 804 is the area code. Bruce, what's going on, Bruce?
Good afternoon, Matt. Matt, I mean, it's an interesting take on this cap. And coming from mid-major, Matt, is even more interesting. Because the mid-major Matt that I know is like, hey, guys, share the wealth. So there's a contrarian view, and people need to understand, why are there caps? Why do, if we call them unions, say I'm in this sport, and there should be a cap, and as it relates to how we divvy the profits. So you have MLB, NBA, NFL. They all have these dynamic relationships and deals. And these owners, lucky you, these owners sit in fat heaven with, hey, we're making this. So you create these collective bargaining agreements through your union, and you say we should share in your profit. We're bringing, it's name, image, and likeness. We're bringing revenue to you, so we should have the opportunity to share. And I mean, Matt, this argument is old as old can get. So if we're going to create caps, we got to find a way to still divvy up the profits, because the billionaires are only going to become more billionaires. And I get the fact that people can say, well, that's the reason that you're in business. That's your motivation, profit. That's true in part. But if you already know this new Amazon NBC deal is bringing the NBA wazoos of billions, why shouldn't those who bring the fans and put them in the seats say, hey, I have the opportunity to share in that?
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah. I mean, yes, the mid-major in me says everybody should have, a piece of the pie. And the problem will be that you still are going to have owners who won't spend money. But if you institute a floor, and you say, if you don't spend this much money, then you get fined, I think that's going to do it. I think that'll change things. And if you don't just fine them, you fine them every day that they're below the floor. So every day that the Kansas City Royals are below $70 million in terms of a payroll, the owner, and no one else can pay this, the owner is fined $1 million. That's how you enforce it. That's how you enforce it. I think the contracts are out of control. They really are. And players in baseball are getting paid more money than the best players in other sports, and they probably don't deserve it. Compare Pat Mahomes and Juan Soto. Compare Pat Mahomes and Juan Soto and Luka in all the different sports, and see how drastic the best players in all their sports are getting paid. And that's kind of ridiculous. Let's take our final timeout. We'll do one final segment, set you up for the week ahead. You're listening to 106.1 ESPN.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Man, look at that Return of the Old King, man. Oh, wow. Emotional.
King of the Hill is back.
They got a Bob's in the airport now. Oh, that's Boba.
World has changed, Dad.
Bobby wants to bring that new girl over for dinner.
The Vegas? What the hell am I supposed to feed her?
Can't we just put some grass in a bowl?
From Mike Judge and Greg Daniels.
Ready to make some memories, Dad?
Let's freaking go.
A Hulu original series, King of the Hill. Season premiere August 4th. Streaming on Hulu.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Have you failed the DMV written test 3 times? DTW Driving School can help you. And it's easy. For $99, you can take the DTW Driving School DMV approved course online. And you can even save $10 by using a DTW Driving School online coupon. What's even better is you can take the course at your convenience. Get details at dtwdrivingschool.org. That's dtwdrivingschool.org. Register today, and DTW Driving School will get you back on track.
Looking for the perfect sports talk to start your day? Well, we fits the bill. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, bringing you some takes, debates, and everything sports. Fits the bill every weekday from 8 to 10 a.m. right here on ESPN Richmond. Tune in because this show fits just right.
Welcome back to the final segment, 106.1 ESPN. Matt Joseph's here. Real quick before I get to Reggie, watched Adam Sandler 2 over the weekend. Not Adam Sandler 2, Happy Gilmore 2. It was as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was terrible. It was horrendous.
Oh my gosh. It was the perfect golf movie.
Oh my God.
I thought it was amazing.
So here's what I thought was good. The cameos were good. Some random cameo, like Kelsey Plum being in it was really random. I mean, the golfers are pretty funny in terms of like, they're not these like stiff, athlete types.
I love that they embraced the Scotty Scheffler thing when he gets her. He goes, not again.
That was one of my I laughed 4 times during the movie. See, here's the key. If you go into it with 0 expectations and you actually expect it to be terrible, then you will not be disappointed, which I was not disappointed. I thought it was going to be terrible, and it was terrible. I said I was going to laugh 2 times, and I laughed 4. If you go into it with any sort of expectations like, oh my God, this is going to be just like the first one, it's going to be cinematic gold, all this stuff, like, then you're going to be really disappointed. Like, at its core, it was a terrible movie.
Oh, I disagree. I mean, yes, it's Adam Sandler comedy, that sort of thing, but I disagree. I think it was good.
Okay. Well, let's see. I'll let everybody else decide. If you've seen it, text in, tell me. If you haven't seen it, just go into it with no expectations. Reggie, I'm going to hold you through the break. We'll get to it at the top of the hour for the Mashup Hour. I don't want to hold you down. We got like 30 seconds. So, Reggie, can you hold on?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. All right. I don't want to shortchange Reggie. We love Reggie. So we'll get to him right at the top of the Mashup Hour because I had to get that PSA in. I just don't have any expectations. That's all. That's the key to these things. Like, that's why I always thought that Ted Lasso was mediocre, because everyone said it was the best show on TV.
I haven't seen Ted Lasso, but with Happy Gilmore 2, it was like, I told my wife last night, she was like, Adam Sandler is one of my favorite actors. And I was like, do you want to watch Happy Gilmore 2 with me? And she was like, no, do I need, I haven't seen the first one. I was like, you don't need to.
No, God.
They literally put all the important parts from the first movie in, sprinkle it throughout the course of this one.
The other thing I'll say, without spoiling anything, very disappointed with the early part of the movie.
Yes, me too.
Very disappointed with the early part of the movie. That's all I'm saying. I didn't say anything. I'm just saying very disappointed early.
You said a lot. with so little.
Right, exactly. But like, that's all. Just no expectations and you'll be fine. If you expect this thing to be cinematic gold, you're going to be massively disappointed. All right, that's it for this show. Coming up tomorrow, we're going to talk a little Commanders. Al Galdi will be on the show, so we'll get his thoughts on what's going on there. And we'll talk a little Nats with him as well. Warren Sharp is going to stop by on Thursday, so that's a lot of fun. So stick around through the break. The Mashup Hour is next, as well as Reggie's Call. You'll hear that next, 106.1 ESPN.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. Today, you're going to pay down your credit card bill, but you decide when you'll pay it. Before the due date, so those interest charges don't get you. But you decide if you pay it in full. But you definitely should, because again, interest charges. With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. Then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
I thought I'd book a trip to Italy to celebrate retiring.
We didn't speak Italian.
We didn't then. We do now. Because of Babbel.
Babbel is the refreshingly easy-to-use app for learning a new language. Babbel uses immersive lessons to teach you vocabulary and grammar in a way that sticks. Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, plus the leading technology from Lennox. Now that's a perfect duo. Together, this duo will make sure that your home is comfortable season after season. They're offering up to $1,500 in rebates, or qualified buyers make no payments, incur no interest for 60 months when financing a new Lennox system. Plus, receive up to $2,600 in federal tax credit. Call Herman Allen at 804-746-5853 or HermanAllenPlumbing.com to learn more.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
my debit card.
Their debit card.
Where'd I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's me, your piggy bank. Remember when you were a little kid? All the dimes and
Hello,
quarters
Bob.
in my back. Yeah, that was good times.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Now, lately,
Did a
I
whole
gotta
lot
be
of
honest,
nothing in
you've been
Cocoa
ignoring me.
Beach.
Money's been slipping through your hands like a greased pig.
Yep.
Get it?
Yep.
Because
Space Coast.
Anyway, I know how it is.
Yeah,
Now that
got
you
to
get
see
real
a
paycheck,
SpaceX
it's nice
rocket
to have
fly
stuff.
off.
You'll start saving money next year. Well, I hate to tell you, but good
So
saving
that was
habits
cool.
start now. Put just $20 in the bank a month. Make your own coffee at home instead of that latte every morning. Brown
Yes,
bags to work
I miss
instead of
being
ordering
here.
in. Those changes alone could save you thousands
Right.
of dollars a year. Come on, I'm your piggy bank. We can be together again, me and you, the special times. Anyway, if you don't want me to cry anymore,
All
hear
right,
me.
sweet.
Go to feedthepig.org for more ideas on how to save.
Feed the pig.
.org.